The optimum word for the next 15 years is conservation. You like to look at things and connect these, but it goes right along with these time frames that are perfect. Next 15 years, we conserve, we live within our means. Religions aren't going away. They're changing. People are not buying into what somebody is definitely telling them. They're moving and changing. That really, religion and spirituality are two different subjects. Technology is exponentially exploding. If you just go back 10 years and what's happened, and go back 5 years, go forward into the future, what's going to happen. I keep waiting for the perfect facelift, so I know they're going to perfect this and I can get it done. We're going to look back at the age of using fossil fuel as a quaint old period. Oh, remember when they used to use horses and manure around the streets? Remember when they used those cars that used to drive on fire and blow yourself up in these accidents? Remember, Aquarian age is the practical over the sentimental. It's a big picture, and what I want you to do is not lose the sight. Yes, the next few years you want to be very smart. You want to be very wise. Time that it takes for this age to change. There's chaos, there's problems, there's fear, there's everything going on. First law of the universe is order. Get yourself in order. Get your life in order. That's the most important, nicest thing you could do for yourself right now. What do you need to do to conserve and get your life in order? Hello, I'm Gail Minogue, and as you can see, these are some very scary, challenging, but exciting times. Welcome to the New World Renaissance. These are very positive times as we move forward into humanity's enlightenment. So for the next 90 minutes, you'll be watching what seems to be very disconnected but very connected events. There is a common thread that has been woven through many hundreds of years to bring us where we are today. Our great American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that the years teach much that the days never knew. And as you will see from watching the next 90 minutes, you will be able to tell the common thread that has been woven for many, many, many thousands of years to bring us where we are today. So welcome to the New World Renaissance, and I want to thank you for watching. Well, let me introduce myself to you. For those who do not know me, my name is Gail Minogue, and I have studied probably numerology and ancient science and ancient mystery school information for about 25 years. And I have enjoyed it, and I never thought I'd come to the point where one day I would be using it in everyday life, in my everyday routine, but that is what I'm doing now. And I have been blessed with some abilities to really connect what seem very disconnected events that have been going on for a very long time, both in ancient times and present times and future times. And as we take a look at all of the events that are going now, it seems very, very scary. But what I'd like to do with the purpose of this talk is to bring you some comfort and some understanding and be able to see the synergy of all these what supposedly disconnected events, such as the starvation in Darfur, such as the stock market falling apart or the housing falling apart, and all the sudden changes that are taking place in the United States and really in a globalization situation. My background has always been in the business and financial world. I'm still a commodity broker, still licensed, still could trade. I stopped trading several years ago, but one of the things I used to do was follow the cycles and the trends in the markets, in the futures markets, and I found that our lives are made up of metaphors. And the metaphor for me was dealing with futures. And now I found how I took a lot of the information that I studied for the Pythagorean schools, the ancient Egyptian schools, Hermetic laws, astrological laws, and you begin to put that, and you see how everything is connected and really begin to look at, quote, the future. So this part of the work I do a lot of private work, but I love to talk about the economic, social, cultural, political, spiritual trends that we are really feeling and exhibiting and are affecting our lives. So the purpose of tonight's talk, I thought would be interesting to tell you that we are on the brink, in the beginning, actually in the midst of a new world renaissance. We may not feel like it, We may look at this and say, this is a Renaissance, let me off, I want to go home, I don't want to sign up, I'm never raising my hand to come back here again, I'll never volunteer. But the fact of the matter is, every once in a while, approximately every 500 to 600 years, the planet, shall we say, goes through an evolutionary cycle. And this is very exciting, and it's exciting to be born and to live and experience this ourselves personally and to be part of this big change. I would say that the cycle we're now in probably began at the end of the 1700s. And we have about a Renaissance is approximately 300 years. So we're certainly past the middle of it. It really became full-blown, shall we say, during the Industrial Revolution. And as you can see, what happened in the 1800s, what happened in the 1900s, the big changes, particularly in the Western world, both in Europe and in America. And that is really what the effects of what I would say this new Renaissance. So I want to take us back and I want to take us forward and to tell you that mankind or humankind, and I like to use humankind since I'm a girl, and that's where really we're going, because we're living right now under a 1,000-year period of working with the number 2, which is a feminine number. So around the year 2000, the energy began to shift more into a feminine energy, now I don't want to say an overcoming or a power greater than, but a balancing of feminine energy. So men are allowed to cry, they change diapers, they're Mr. Moms, they do a lot of that, and women themselves are really reaching out to change and grow in positions where normally they've been held by men. So the 1,000-year period that we're in, you will see again the rise in the power of the female. So that's all affecting all of us, and that's only one cycle. While we go through this Renaissance, there's cycles upon cycles that are influencing from the Qin period in the I Ching, from the year 2000, from the astrological sign of the age of Aquarius. Let's see, from the, oh golly, there's another period in there, and it will come to me in just a second, but these 4 alone are just huge in the influence they have on us. And then there's your own personal cycle. There's a cycle of the United States or the country you're in, and all these things are affecting you. But probably the most important one that is probably playing itself out now is the age of Aquarius that was ushered in probably the late 1700s, which was ushered in with the birthing of the United States. And the United States came into being on July 4th, 1776. And the interesting thing about the United States, it was really founded with laws and rules from the Iroquois Confederacy, and let's see, the Greeks and the Hermetic laws and ancient Egyptian mystery schools. So these are the founding fathers formed this nation. But what in the heck was the special role of it? Why are we here, and what the heck are we doing now? The founding of this country was to be a catalyst for the major changes that were to take place in the future on the planet. So this was a very special hallowed ground, and that's why you hear some of these words used in our Declaration of Independence, Abraham Lincoln. In fact, Abraham Lincoln was an Aquarian. So we have a lot of the Aquarian influence where we now are at the age of, quote, enlightenment rather than the age of emotion. So if you go back in time and you see that about 2,400 years ago, we were all in another age, the age of Pisces, the age of religion, and the age of motion, and the age of water, which represents emotions. And out of that age, we have come into the age of enlightenment, or the age of the mind, and the age of thought. So we still have a huge component of emotions, and the greatest teaching tool of that era was fear. So as we begin to pull away from that age, or the age of Pisces, and enter into an age of Aquarius, which will last approximately 2,400 years, we pull out of the fear into the age of enlightenment, where we begin to think for ourselves.